Hey guys, we're out here in the woods in Arkansas. We have a really awesome guest that came on today. His name's Dano. He's from the Cryptid Podcast. He's going to share his story of the rake. If you're not familiar with what that is, then he's going to explain it very well. And let's jump right into the story.
So yeah, you and I kind of talked a little bit, and you were interested in. Well, Josh, our mutual friend, told you got to ask me about my rake encounter, and I've talked about this, a few times, quite a bit, I guess. Not overly spoke about it, but this was like the summer of my senior year of high school, right before it. So 89, 1989, and I just moved back to Tennessee. My junior year of high school, I was not a very good student. I failed two classes, and told my dad, like, listen, I know I'm not going to graduate on time, so I'm not going to be able to walk with my class. So I'm going to go and move back to Tennessee with mom because I know I'm going to graduate from Tennessee because I guess their standards were not as high as up in Washington State. So, and I was correct in my guess. Yeah, I needed 2 credits to graduate high school. It was a senior English credit and a junior English credit. And so I moved back, reconnected with a buddy of mine that I'd known since my freshman year because I went there my freshman year of high school, and loved his family. His family treated me like I was one of their own. And so one Friday, I went over and started hanging out with them. It was probably, I don't know, maybe about noon, 1 o'clock when I got over there, and the plan was to spend the night. His mom and dad were leaving. We were gonna hang out and just play video games, horse around on his dad's farm, do whatever. And so his dad, I'll refer to my buddy as Justin. I won't say his real name. I won't give the exact location. All I'm gonna say is um, Shelby County, Tennessee, south of Millington. That's all I'm gonna say. And and so we get there, and his dad, I'll call his dad Mr. Eddie. He's always Mr. Eddie in all the story every time I tell it. Big man, massive mountain of a man, big farmer, big farm, big catcher's mitts for hands. And he'd always mess with me and always say, listen, you guys, um, you know, don't do anything stupid. He's talking to my buddy Justin. He's like, listen, we're going out. Your mom and I are going out. We'll be back either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Here's the phone number where we're going to be. Don't do anything stupid. Don't call us unless the house is on fire or someone died. Fair enough. And so he's like, "What are you guys gonna do?" So, and Justin's like, "Well, we're gonna ride mini bikes and just goof off." He's like, "Okay." So we go out and get the mini bikes out, and now the layout of the house was it. You had your main house and yard. You had a pole barn, like barn type thing, where his dad kept all of his farming equipment and the mini bikes. And that's where his dogs slept. And then he had this huge backyard that was just manicured. It was his dad's pride and joy. I mean, this he took hours cutting his grass. It was probably close to an acre just of his backyard.
Wow.
And it was like golf course manicured. It was beautiful. And had like a road. You went in the driveway, and it kind of just opened up where the barn and stuff was, and you went down like this little dirt road that went alongside of the backyard, and then it was gonna go right into the trees, but then it turned to the left and turned to the right. If you turned to the left, it was where you accessed the fields where he grew his crops, but you'd have to cut through this little patch of forest. Now, the forest was probably 20 acres total, really long acres, but not so wide. And where we went into the woods normally, there was an old farmhouse. Now, late 1800s, early 1900s, maybe. And once you went through there, once you cut through the woods there, it opened up into one of his grow fields where he grew like soybeans and corn and things like that. And then it had like another little access road that went down. And between each one, I think he had four fields that he grew his crops in. Between each one of those was like a little access road, like the tractor could go down or a truck can go down, but it had just like a swath of trees that went down that separated each and every single one of them. And so we get on the mini bikes and we go ripping down through there, and we are gone. We leave probably about 1:30, and we're gone like all day. We're driving into neighborhoods of people that we know, and we're hanging out. We go to a couple like this little gas station thing. We go in there and we get some drinks and stuff, and we realize it's getting kind of late. This is summer. I mean, the sun's still going to be up like 9 o'clock at night, but we realize it's we don't want to be out super late. So we start heading back and we get into the woods. And as we're driving, riding past this old house, Kevin or Justin kind of gets off the gas a little bit, which makes me slow down. And I kind of see where he's looking, and I look over at the house and I see something or someone standing in one of the windows. And then I hear Justin get on it and take off, right? So I follow him, and we go out of the woods, we hit a left, we don't dare drive through his dad's backyard, and we go up, and what's really curious is I watched him instead of stopping the bike and getting off of it, he just, like, jumped off of it and took off running towards the back deck. I pull up next to his bike, I get off of it, and I run up, and we open up the door, and he calls out for his dad, and his dad's not there. There's a note on the kitchen. Again, dummies, don't do anything stupid. We'll be back probably tomorrow morning, more than likely. Okay. And I go, dude, I go, did you see someone or someone down there in that house? He was like, yeah, why do you think I took off so quick? And I'm figuring he took off because he was hoping his dad would still be there to go tell his dad, and then we'd go down there and tell the guy to get out of there. But his dad was gone. So we just kind of put it out of our head. He asked us what we wanna have. I remember it was chicken patties, so he was cooking chicken patties, and I was sitting in his dad's chair. Now, if anybody down south, well, you're in Arkansas, you know that the man of the house has his throne, has his specific chair. Whether he's
Absolutely.
home whether he's home or not, you don't sit in his chair. You don't. You do not sit in his chair because it's angled the right angle, it's positioned the right position, everything is perfect. Well, I'm sitting in Mr. Eddie's chair, and it was one of those big, like, reclining, swivel, rocking, oversized chairs because he's a big man, and I'm laying across it. I've got my feet hanging over the side, which I'm completely doing everything I shouldn't be doing, had my shoes on, and, I'm clicking through the stations on his TV. They had one of those old, like, protection big screen TVs, projection TVs, and, I've got it cranked up, and, it's starting to get dark by now, and where I'm sitting in the chair, there's an, end table and then a lamp on the end table, and then right on the other side of the end table is a window to the side of the house, right? So I'm sitting there and blaring the TV, but I hear like a scratchy noise. And I'm like, "Oh, where's that noise coming from?" So I start, kind of looking around, don't really notice anything. And I'm thinking it's coming from the TV. So I change the channel and I hear the scratching sound again. I'm like, oh man, I hope I didn't blow a speaker because I had it cranked up. So I start turning it down and I don't hear the scratching noise. I'm like, man, I blew a speaker. I know I blew a speaker. Well, I go to change the channel again. All of a sudden, I hear the scratching again. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And I turn and I look out the window because it's coming literally from behind me now. I turn and I look and I see this face, like not doing this, but I see this face like looking right into the window at me.
Mhm.
And what I showed you, this whitish gray, sickly, tight skin, big dark eye sockets, almost no nose, kind of look almost like a Voldemort nose almost. just a big mouth, and it's looking right in the window. And I jump off of the chair and I'm screaming. You would have thought that, I'm a young girl and I'm seeing the Backstreet Boys or something like that for the first time, and I am just losing my mind. And my buddy Justin comes running in. He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Man, there's something at the window. There's something at the window. I was looking in the window." And he goes up, and I'm thinking he's just kind of look to see what he's, if he can kind of see anything, but he doesn't. He goes right up to the window and he does this, and he's there not even a second, and he jumps off. He's like, "Oh my! I saw it! I saw it run away from the house!" And he goes and he runs into his bedroom, comes out, and he has two shotguns, and gives me one. And he's like, "Let's go." I go, "What do you mean, let's go?" He's like, "We're gonna go see what that thing is." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" So he starts giving me. We're loading it up. We go walking through the dining room, through the kitchen, through the mudroom. And as we're going through the mudroom, he stops and gets a flashlight off of the wall. It's like on a charger. And the best way that I can describe this flashlight, it's like a lunchbox with a big old lens on it and a
Mm.
big battery. And I go, I need one. He's like, there's one in the drawer. So I open up the drawer and it's one of those little plastic, like this size, like a little plastic red one that if you're lucky, if you get 2 feet of vision, light from it. And when we walked out on the front porch or out on the back porch, we hear his dogs barking, and his dogs are barking. They're going crazy. Now, these are three big farm dogs. I've seen deer, coyote, fox, walk through the back part of the yard and them just kind of look up and like "Hmm," like they're not even really interested in it. They don't get aggravated by those things. The only time I saw them bark other than that night was like when someone pulled up in the driveway and they didn't know who it was. So they would bark and then once they, "Oh, okay," and then they'd stop barking, they go and do their own thing. But these dogs, man, they were going absolutely bonkers. So he's flashing the flashlight and we could barely see, towards the tree line, and we can kind of see him. So we start walking through the backyard and we see these dogs. As close as we get, we can tell these dogs are ready to go. Like they want to fight something. The hackles on the back of their back is all standing straight up. Their hair's all standing straight up, Their tails are up and curled over, like they're ready to rock and roll. And as we get up there, we're like, "Come on, boys, come on, let's go, let's go." And we're flashing. Well, I'm trying to flash with my flashlight, but he's lighting up the tree line because they're about a good 15, 20, 25 feet away from the tree line. And he's flashing. We don't see nothing. And these dogs are still going crazy. And we're trying to pull them, and they're not letting us pull them back. Well, about the third or fourth time that he's like, "Yeah, come on, boys, let's go, let's go." Something. Don't know what it is, don't know what it was, made this like guttural scream, growl type noise, and you could feel it. You could feel it come through the brush.
Mm.
And I go to look to ask my buddy Justin, "Man, did you just hear that or what was that?" And I look to my right and he's not there. He's gone. The dogs are gone. I look behind me and all I see is Justin and the dogs racing across the yard up towards the house. Well, I kick off real quick. I start running, sprinting as fast as I can, and you hear something coming through the trees, coming through the brush. And I have this little crappy flashlight, and I stop for a second to flash it behind me to see if what was coming out of there. I couldn't see anything. There was no distance from this beam of light, none at all. But I had this feeling. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about this. But I had this feeling that there was something coming at me. So I ran as hard and as fast as I could, and I got to the bottom of the steps as they were getting ready to open up the door. I jumped up the steps. I was skipping steps. I got up there just as he opened the door, and the dogs were trying to climb over each other, trying to get into the house. These dogs knew they weren't supposed to be in the house. These dogs had no desire to come in the house. They hung out in the barn. That's where they were happy with, you know? I don't ever remember seeing those dogs in a house at all, ever. And we all pile into the house, and he's like, "What was that? What was that?" And we start locking all the doors, pulling all the curtains and blinds and locking windows. We take Mr. Eddie's chair and we push it up into the stairwell that goes upstairs. And we're thinking, for whatever reason, if that thing, if it's what we heard was the same thing that what we saw, could climb a wall or something and come through a window upstairs, we had it barricaded. Seriously, hindsight's 2020 now. There's no way that would a chair would have stopped it coming out down the stairs, you know? So we're freaking out. The dogs are freaking out. They're losing their mind. They're whining and growling at the same time. I don't know what time it was we fell asleep, but we did fall asleep. The next thing I remember is I feel that like something kicked my foot like really hard. And thinking about it now, it wasn't that hard, but back then it felt like it was a full on kick. But it was my buddy Justin's dad, Mr. Eddie. And it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And he comes home and he sees his son, his son's best friend, laying on the floor, shotguns, dogs laying amongst us and across us. And he's like, "What the heck is going on? What did I tell you about the dogs?" And blah, blah, blah. The dogs are all freaking out. They want to go outside now, because Mr. Eddie's losing his mind. We get up, we're trying to explain to him at the same time, what happened, why, what was going on. And he just pretty much tells us to shut the F up and like, what happened. So between me and Justin, we tell him exactly what happened. He went outside and we watched him. He walked out the back door, went to the side of the house, and we're looking out the window. And he goes out there, he starts looking around the window. All of a sudden, he goes like this. He goes, does that, and he like moves and he turns around and he starts moving really quick with purpose back into the house. Walks right by us, didn't say a word to us, goes into his bedroom. You can hear him beep, 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 hitting the combo on the gun safe, and comes out with his AR-15, putting magazines in his pockets, and he says, "Let's go." And we look, me and Justin look at his dad and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Let's go." So we follow him outside and we're on the back deck, and he walks down to the farm truck and gets in, and he's like, "Let's go." And I go, "I'm not going down there." And he's like, "Daniel, get your A in the truck right now." So Justin gets in the cab, I climb into the bed of the truck, and I'm standing up in the truck as he's driving down the little access road. He goes in. I'm thinking when he gets into the woods, he's going to kind of pull back a little bit and we're going to get out. We're going to walk around the house maybe. Nope. He pulls right up to the front porch of that house, like bumper almost touching the stairs. He gets out and he's looking at Justin. He's like, "What window did you see it in?" And he's just pointing. And he's like, "Which one?" And I tell him, I go, "It's that first one right there on the right-hand side of the door as you're walking in." Now there's no windows, there's no doors. Nature's taken over this house. If from where he parked the truck and where I'm standing looking over the roof of the truck, I can see right through the house from the front door through the backyard, through the back door. It's just straight shot through it. You go in, if you turn to your right immediately as you come in the front door, there's a little, like, 2 steps that go up on this little landing, and then there's a set of stairs that goes all the way up to the 2nd floor, and there's a landing there, and then if you turn left, you go up, like, 2 steps, and there's 1 bedroom at the very end of the hallway. There's 2 or 3 bedrooms on the right-hand side. There's a bedroom on the left-hand side, and a bathroom on the left-hand side. If you keep going straight, it takes you down this hallway, and there's like 2 like little closets with sliding doors like that for storage or whatnot. But then there's another set of stairs that go down and they take you down into the kitchen. The very first room is the living room. There's a little room off to the side, off on the left-hand side. You go through into the dining room. There's like a pantry area or like another room or something, and a bathroom. And then you go in the kitchen. That's where the pantry is. It's in the kitchen. And then there's that little stairway that goes upstairs. And if you go out the back door, you're on a old back porch. It goes off on where the backyard would be. So he goes up, Mr. Eddie goes up into the house, and he's got his boots on, and you hear him clomping up through the house. And I watch him go in the living room. He, whatever, he's got his AR with him, goes into the dining room. I don't see him because he goes off into this other area, comes back into view, goes into the kitchen, goes over to where the pantry is, comes back. And as he's coming back, all of a sudden he just starts yelling, start the truck, Justin, start the truck. And he comes running. I see him come around the corner and comes running straight towards the truck at a dead sprint, as much as this big old boy can move. And I'm thinking he's going to run down the stairs and then get in the truck. He jumped from the porch and almost landed right next to the door of the truck. Justin already had the truck started. One of the dogs had moseyed on down there to see what we were doing. He jumps in. Mr. Eddie jumps in the truck, slams it in reverse, almost takes the dog out. The dog jumps out of the way at the last second and starts taking off towards the house. Mr. Eddie drove that truck through his backyard, his manicured lawn, his pride and joy. He tore that yard up, pulled right up to the back porch, back deck of the house, went in. Me and Justin are sitting there, and we're both looking towards the wood line. We don't know if something's going to come running up at us. Remember, we both have shotguns. We're terrified. We're ready to go, though. And his dad comes back out. And then, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes later, we hear a semi-truck downshifting. And then we hear it pull into the driveway over by where the barn is. And there is a semi-truck pulling an excavator. His dad goes over, talks to this truck driver, and they talk about whatever. They unload the excavator. He drives the excavator down, doesn't go through the yard with the excavator, goes into the woods, and he completely demolishes this house. Like, he tears it completely down. And then he sets fire to it and burns it.
Wow.
I went home after that, didn't say nothing of it. School year, me and Justin, we never talked about it. We would look at each other, or I would try to bring it up, but we just never really talked about it. Now, years later, when I was back to Tennessee visiting, had my little girl with me. She was little, and I just happened to see Justin at a restaurant. And I introduced him to my daughter, and we started talking. And I go, man, do you remember that one time when I stayed over at your house and we saw that? He's like, yep. He's like, Daniel, I was going to tell you right now. He goes, buddy, I don't want to talk about it. I haven't talked about it all these years. I don't want to talk about it. The last time I talked about it, I was with my dad. And I go, what did he see? And he's like, he says he didn't see anything. He said he heard something. He heard something that scared him enough to where he did what he did. And so, as far as I know, if he's still alive, I know he moved down to Florida, Mr. Eddie did, sold a bunch of his land off, left a lot of it to Justin, and then Justin, from what I understand, eventually sold off the rest of it and lives somewhere else in Tennessee.
Man, that's terrifying. How old were you when this happened?
17.
That's definitely, you were getting goosebumps. I was getting goosebumps too. I mean, just thinking of being that age and experiencing that, that's got to be terrifying. I mean, so, and what do you think this thing was? Do you have like a?
Well, back then, no clue what it was. No clue. Didn't all I heard monster. That's all we pretty much called was the monster. We didn't have a name for it. And it wasn't until later, like years, probably, well, to guess how many years, I can tell you it wasn't until maybe maybe 10 years ago. If that, maybe a little less than that is what I heard the rake. And I'm like, what do you mean rake? You know? And then I saw a picture of it. I'm like, holy crap, that's kind of close to what I saw. And then I was talking with Tony Merkel from the Confessionals, and he was talking about that movie Signs with Mel Gibson, where there's an alien on there. And as I'm talking to him, I'm looking up signs, alien images from the movie Signs. And when I see it, the body was very, very similar to like the muscular part of the body, but the color wasn't the same. Its eyes, big eyes were the same, but it had a big mouth. And I'm like, holy crap, that's almost exactly like what I saw, with the exception of the coloring, and it wasn't like standing completely erect. It was more hunched over. So, I mean,
Man.
someone even told me one time, like, I mean, you saw gray. And I'm like, what is a gray? And like, it's an alien. They're not good. And I'm like, okay, if you said I saw gray, I saw gray. Again, I didn't know what I was until I really started getting into this stuff and really checking things out. And I'm like, holy crap, that's quite possibly what I saw. Almost 100% sure that's what I saw. I can tell you, I never want to see one again, ever.
No, I'm with you. I've never seen one. Never experienced anything quite like you've shared, and I don't think I want to. So I'll
Mm.
uh, I'll live that experience through you and what you share with us tonight. I mean, do you think I like to ask this question? So, do you think there's a relationship between cryptids, aliens, grays, all the things? You think that they share something in common?
Mm. I think that if there is anything they share in common is that they pick up on energy. I think that they're drawn to energy, and but if there's a relationship between them, some people will tell you yes. Um, I don't think so. That's just me personally because I haven't seen. I mean, I've had two sightings of a Sasquatch.
Oh, wow.
There were no UFOs present. There were no lights present. There were no orbs present when I saw these two. I saw one when I was 12. I saw one when I was 19, and completely opposite ends of the United States. One on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. So, um, what I saw was flesh and blood.
Yeah.
What I saw in Tennessee at 17, it was flesh and blood. And it moved, it moved.
Man, that's truly, like I said, truly terrifying. Um, I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on the show and sharing your story with us.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to look this up. I know you showed me a picture earlier, but you said it's called a rake. Is that right?
Yeah, I just typed in rake, RAKE, and then cryptid, and then they'll
Okay,
pop up,
fair
and
enough.
yep,
We'll try to add a picture for all of our listeners so they can see it as well, to get kind of a visual picture of it as well. And man, I really appreciate your time, Dano, and
sure.
appreciate you coming on. Make sure you guys check out his podcast, the Cryptid Podcast. And what's your email if anybody wants to shoot you an email?
Yeah, sure. It's the Cryptid Podcast 72 at gmail.com. The Cryptid Podcast 72 at gmail.com. And I can be found on YouTube and Spotify.
Awesome. Yeah, Spotify's the way to go sometimes too. Well, hey, I really appreciate Dano, and you have a wonderful evening, and thanks for joining with us tonight.
Sure, man. Thanks, Cody.
What'd you guys think about tonight's episode with Dano? I'll tell you, his encounter was truly terrifying. I wasn't familiar with what a rake was prior to speaking to Dano, and it's definitely something I hope I never see or encounter ever. Just the fear he must have faced at such a young age, 17, that's hard to deal with. I really appreciate you guys watching the show tonight. As always, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. If you have any encounters at all, share them with us. This is the only way we're going to be able to keep this channel going. You can email us at strangeconspiracies88@gmail.com. And thanks for watching the show again tonight, guys. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Strange Conspiracies. And remember, stay looking up.